Every so often we have special guests that stop by to join us, and we're excited to have one of those with us this evening. The one and only John Rhys-Davies.
Do you ever get jealous of like stars that have really short names?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I come back, I'm going to call myself Sting or Madonna.
5 letters, that's all it is.
Why?
Yes, I think that was one. Did you have any idea that Indiana Jones would be as big as it was when you were filming it?
It was early on in my career.
Yes.
I just got into showdown, so I had an idea.
Okay. It might be a thing, alright.
But it was either going to be the biggest disaster of all time,
It was going to tank.
or it was going to suddenly
Correct. And we saw what it did. That's amazing.
In fact, you're in a theme park. The Indiana Jones ride. You help people learn what they're in for before they get on the ride.
I think Disney did rather well out of that. I think we shot it, I think they gave me 10 grand about 25, 30 years ago. But it goes on and on and on.
Yep, there's one in Japan, possibly one coming here, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful. How wonderful. So what do you guys do when you're not lurking?
That's pretty much what we do. It's our job. How much of you do you get to inject in each of those different characters?
Look, first of all, I am the luckiest actor that you will ever meet. I've sort of worked constantly, and I've had fun all the time. It's wonderful being allowed to play as an adult and to find traits in yourself and just to develop them. I've been a mass murderer. I've emptied my machine gun into people. I've played some intelligent characters and courageous characters, and it's been a blast. How much of me is in them? I hope a bit. All those possibilities. Gimli, for instance, is the most human of those characters. The others are a little bit perfect in their own particular way. Gimli is us. Well, he's the bit of us that we don't really want to talk about. The xenophobe, the aggressive, hostile, the suspicious, paranoid. We recognize those characteristics in ourselves. But he's also what we would aspire to be. Loyal, faithful to his friends, able to see the big picture, and brave beyond all imagining. That's really what we would like to be. And that's a glorious thing to play. I am about 4 months away from my 80th year, and I have written a few pieces, and now it is my turn to get out and try and shake the money tree and get the films made that I want to make, which really are about the glorious nature of mankind. And, why we should respect ourselves, why we should be humane, compassionate, and to remember we are descended from generations of the bravest animals on earth. And just remember, at the start of the last ice age, 100,000 years ago, there were 5, probably 6 species of man on the planet. At the end of it, there is only us. How did that happen? Well, Anyway, next question.
We're all big fans of sliders. And in fact, my son's name's Quinn after the Quinn Mallory from the show. So I just wanted to let you know that that show, even though it hadn't been on, was there any talks of bringing anything back with it? Or
There's talks, but there's all sorts of confusion. It was in the days before electronic contracts.
right?
And there's a lot of argument as to who actually owns the rights. And no one will invest a penny if they don't think that they own the show. But I think all of us, all four of the original characters anyway, would love to have a go. I would like to have another go again. When you are part of a television series, one of the duties you do have is to be able to leave it in such a state that 10, 15, 20 years later, it can be picked up and reused. And we didn't do that. Partly that was my fault. Partly because I was hard on the writers, but partly because they were writing badly. If you're going to write science fiction, it helps to have read some. If you're going to write science fiction, it helps to know basic things about the universe. Simple little things about, what happens when you put not one, but 3 neutron stars in the solar system. The problem is not that if you're going to be fried every 24 hours when one of them spins and hits Earth. Some of them fly, some of them try 50, 80, 100 times in a second, for God's sake. And besides, the density would scatter your little solar system into all corners of the universe. Magic has no place in a science fiction series. Once you can bring people back from the dead, you're fixed. This is no longer has any reality. There is no real threat. Anyway, bitch, moan, grumble, and complain. I am guilty. Mea maxima culpa. I should have handled it differently. But by God, I'm glad I left when I did.
It was good till you left.
I found it really moving when you were talking earlier about NASA and the importance of space travel. I know, like William Shatner went up on a low orbital flight. Would you go up into space if you had the opportunity?
In a New York minute.
I would too, but my wife wouldn't allow it.
Well, in the end, when you're 80 years old, you have to say, excuse me, wife, excuse me, children, I've got to do something. Yes, of course. Look, the world is more divided. The world is more in peril than at any time in my lifetime. And I remember sitting for my university exams in Cuba week. So I do know of the threat of war. The things that bind us together are the arts, the international nature of film, of the community of actors, of the community of good writers, good filmmakers, and science. And NASA is one of the glories of mankind. So, by the way, is Wikipedia. They are the great, giant achievements that most immediately come to mind. And that's why it was really important to be able to introduce people who really are real celebrities. Not because they pretended, not because I've mastered space and time and can talk to you learnedly about space-time dilation. These are people who actually understand the term. And we've got to create we're so dwelling on the past, we're so dwelling on the present, And we're not dreaming enough about the future we could have and the future we must have. And it's the function of old men to remind you youngsters that you have a duty to the future. You have an obligation to get things right and to correct the mistakes that we may have made. Not that we made any.
How was it to come back to the Indiana Jones role after so many years and work with Harrison again?
Harrison is one of the giants of screen of his generation. It was sad not to work with Stephen, but I have to say that our director did a damn good job. That said, I would have done it differently, but but James did an incredible. James, by the way, directed one of the only films that I watched 3 times in the same year, and that was Ford v Ferrari, which I thought was brilliant. Do I think that The Last Indiana Jones is brilliant? It's damn good, but it's damn good. Look, all I know is this, and I try and dint it into the brain of every actor, every writer that I meet. The drama's laws, the drama's patrons give, and we who live to please must please to live. It's about the audience in the end. Never, ever, ever lose sight of the audience. When the audience boos you, don't say, you suffering infant, you ignorant imbeciles, don't you understand my genius? Understand this, that you are in the wrong, not them. Care for them. Look after your audience, and one day your audience will look after you. And gosh, it sounds so mawkish, so predictable for an actor to say, but coming to Comic-Cons over the past 25 years has changed me as a person. I remember going to the first Comic-Con and thinking, why the hell do I have to do this? Just to promote this bloody show? I mean, who wants to go to a damn Comic-Con, see all these people dressed up as Captain Kirk? Come on, for God's sake, can't they have a real life? I went, and slowly it dawned on me that they do have real lives. And some of those lives are so rich. I meet real heroes, domestic heroes who struggle with illness and loss, who care for children who are damaged, and yet you see the children thriving because of parental love. I meet geniuses, idiots. I meet ordinary people, inverted commas. I meet extraordinary people. And they've made me realize, looking back on my life, that I do not like myself as a younger man because I didn't really like people. And the older I get, and it is through meeting people, I realize that actually I really love people. And it's probably senility, but it's a fact. And in a way, an audience will see that. I respect and love my audience. An actor should respect and love the character in his text. He must serve the script. But sometimes good actors have a way of making those words come to a resonance and a richness that possibly even the writer didn't know was there. That's called being an actor. I'm having fun.